What if I told you that Arsenal scouts were sitting inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, watching an £82 million striker tear Spurs apart in the Champions League, and that same player has already told his club he wants to leave in the summer? That is exactly what happened this week, and Gunners Updates has every single detail you need to know. On top of that, Rafael Leo has gone from completely untouchable at AC Milan to suddenly available after a dramatic falling out with the club, and Andrea Berta, the man who has been transforming Arsenal's transfer business, just got linked to both Manchester City and Bayern Munich. But his response to all of that noise is going to shock you. Stay with me, because this is one of those videos you are going to want to watch all the way to the end. And before we get into it, if you are not already subscribed to Gunners Updates, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are bringing you Arsenal scouting reports, transfer news, and inside information before anyone else does, every single day. Now let us get into it. Arsenal sent scouts to watch a player this week, and what those scouts witnessed was an absolute masterclass in centre-forward play. According to Team Talk, Arsenal had representatives in attendance at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Wednesday evening, and they were there for one reason: to run their eye over Atletico Madrid's Julian Alvarez. The 26-year-old did not just perform well on the night. He completely dominated Tottenham across both legs of the Champions League tie, finishing the contest with 3 goals and 2 assists against one of our North London rivals in the biggest club competition on the planet. During the match at Spurs specifically, Alvarez scored a superb counter-attacking goal before turning provider and assisting David Harno directly from a corner. Arsenal scouts sat in those stands and watched every single moment of it live, taking detailed notes, making their evaluations, and feeding their reports straight back to sporting director Andrea Berta. When you zoom out and look at the full picture of his season, the numbers tell a very compelling story. Alvarez has now registered 17 goals and 8 assists in 43 appearances for Atletico Madrid this campaign, and that is a remarkably strong return for a player who is still adapting to an entirely new country, a new league, and a new system. But here is where things start to get genuinely interesting for Arsenal supporters. The Gunners were not the only Premier League club with scouts inside that stadium on Wednesday night. Chelsea were also in attendance, watching the same £82 million striker, which means this could very quickly develop into a London derby of a different kind, a transfer battle between two of the biggest clubs in England for the signature of one of the most exciting attackers in world football right now. And the situation is moving fast, because Alvarez has already personally informed Atletico Madrid that he is open to leaving the club this summer. That is essentially a green light for every club that is interested in him, including Arsenal. The former Manchester City forward could arrive at the Emirates Stadium as a powerful alternative to Victor Osimhen, who Arsenal remain open to retaining. However, if Alvarez were to arrive in North London during the next transfer window, it would almost certainly mean the end of Gabriel Jesus' time at Arsenal, with the Brazilian likely moving on to make room. Now it is worth noting that right now Barcelona remains Alvarez's dream destination. He has made no secret of his admiration for the Spanish club and what they represent. The problem for Barcelona and the opportunity for Arsenal is that the Catalan club may simply not have the financial resources to make a deal of that magnitude happen in the current climate. And here is where Arsenal's advantage becomes crystal clear. Alvarez has reportedly indicated that he would be open to a move to London if his preferred option does not materialize. That puts both Chelsea and Arsenal in a strong position heading into the summer, and the fact that Arsenal specifically chose to send scouts to watch him dismantle Tottenham in the Champions League is not a coincidence. That is deliberate, calculated interest, and it tells you everything you need to know about where this transfer story is heading. Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid have now advanced to the Champions League quarterfinals, where they are set to face Barcelona, and depending on results after that, it could potentially be Arsenal who stand in their way in the semi-finals. Just let that scenario play out in your mind for a second. Arsenal potentially facing Julian Alvarez in a Champions League semi-final, and then turning around and signing him at the end of the same season. That would be one of the most extraordinary transfer stories in recent Arsenal history. So the question we want to put to the Gunners Updates community right now is this. Should Arsenal pay £82 million for Julian Alvarez, given that scouts just watched him destroy Tottenham in the Champions League? Drop your answer in the comments section, yes or no, and let us know what you think. While all of that was developing on the scouting front, something significant was happening over in Italy that has completely changed the landscape of another potential Arsenal transfer. Gunners, what I am about to tell you regarding Rafael Leão is genuinely huge, and it represents a window of opportunity that Arsenal cannot afford to ignore. Leão has gone from being considered completely untouchable at AC Milan to suddenly being available for the right price, and Arsenal have already done some of the early groundwork. For all of the success that Arsenal are achieving this season, and there is plenty of it to celebrate, one area of genuine uncertainty has been staring everyone in the face. The future of Mikel Arteta's options down the left wing is a real concern. Both Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard have shown quality in moments, but the honest assessment is that both players need to be upgraded if Arsenal are serious about competing at the very highest level consistently. Think about the devastating threat that Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke bring to the right side of the pitch, and then consider how desperately Arsenal need that same level of consistent, terrifying quality mirrored on the left. The good news is that Arsenal have apparently already been doing the groundwork behind the scenes. Andrea Berta has held conversations with Rafael Leão's representatives, which indicates a genuine and serious level of interest in the Portuguese international. But here is the development that has changed absolutely everything, and you genuinely need to hear this in full. Following AC Milan's defeat to Lazio, something shifted dramatically in the way that the Rossoneri view Leão's future at the club. The Portugal international's reaction to that result raised some serious eyebrows within the club, and his behavior in the aftermath has since prompted the Italian outlet Tutto Mercato to report that the player and the club are now at a crossroads regarding his long-term future at San Siro. As a direct result of this breakdown in relations, Leão has transformed from a player Milan considered untouchable to a player the club would genuinely consider selling for the right offer. The report is careful to note that Milan will not be actively listing Leão as available for transfer, but the key line is this. No one at the club would be opposed to receiving a serious financial offer for him. That is a significant shift in position, and Arsenal would be wise to take note. From a purely footballing perspective, there is absolutely no debate about whether Leão would represent an upgrade. With 9 Serie A goals to his name so far this season, he would comfortably eclipse what Martinelli has offered, given that the Brazilian has managed just a single goal since the 2025 to 2026 Premier League campaign kicked off. The talent is completely undeniable, and everyone in world football knows it.